Hello everybody, the Great Dino Ranger here again, back with another review. Today we're going to be taking a look at least to me, a very special figure, and that is the Jurassic World Rebirth Strike Attack Nanotyrannus. So, uh, first off, I just want to say I found this on Thursday. Right now, as of recording, I'm recording on Saturday. I found this on Thursday. I haven't had the time to really do the review. It's very cold and snowy outside, so I'm unable to do my review outside as usual. So I had to find a good spot inside to do it. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna take a look at this figure. Now, this one is very special, to me anyway, because well, for any of you who don't know, Nanotyrannus was basically proven to be its own genus of dinosaur last year, in October, actually. Because for many years it has been debated that Nanotyrannus was just a juvenile T-Rex the entire time. All the fossils that have been found of this dinosaur have always, there's been a lot of debate between scientists on whether Nanotyrannus was just its own species, its own genus, or it's just a juvenile T-Rex. So that's been going on for a long time. I personally, before the news came out in October, I personally always believed that Nanotyrannus was its own species. And then all of a sudden, October came, and then boom, there was some new evidence, new research, and all that basically revealed that Nanotyrannus is in fact its own genus, its own species of dinosaur, which is super cool, and it's a really big deal in my opinion in the world of paleontology, because this is a dinosaur that's been debated for a long time. And not only that, there has been the discovery that there are actually two different species of Nanotyrannus, um, that are now official. And what they found briefly here is that when it came to Nanotyrannus, there are some key differences between this and a T-Rex, and some of those differences are the number of teeth. Nanotyrannus had a bit more teeth than T-Rex, and then another one is the length of the arms. The arms are already pretty long on Nanotyrannus, at least in proportion to its body, and the longs would have been much longer than that of T-Rex if you were to put both arms together, which is really cool stuff. And it's a really cool tyrannosaur, and it's kind of cool to think that during the Cretaceous, both Nanotyrannus and T-Rex lived at the same time, occupying probably similar niches or just different ones. But anyway, it's really cool. Enough of my rambling here. Sorry about that. But anyways, here's our figure from Mattel, the Nanotyrannus. I was definitely not expecting to get this dinosaur from Mattel, but ever since it was revealed last year when the Rebirth line came out, I knew I had to get it. But obviously I had to get it much more thanks to the piece of news that we got last year. So there was two different variants of this dinosaur. There's this one that comes in the Rebirth packaging, and then there's one in the new Survival packaging. This is the one that I found at my local Walmart. Here's a brief look at the packaging. It's your standard, Rebirth packaging as usual. Got the nice colors, shows you that the dinosaur has an action feature because this is the Strike Attack assortment. You can see the jungle and the sunset in the background, the Jurassic World Rebirth logo, the Spinosaurus and the Mattel logo, and a nice good view of the figure, which does look really good. Here on this side, it says Jurassic World Rebirth, if you guys can see that. Nothing really interesting on the other side. And here on the back, just shows you a lot of cool stuff. Shows you it's got chomping action, the facts up information, the Rebirth logo, Strike Attack Nanotyrannus, and then it has it's part of the land, obviously, and the three other dinosaurs are part of this assortment. If we can get my camera to focus. There we go. So we got these other ones. We got Zuniceratops, Herrerasaurus, and Achilobator, which is another type of dromaeosaur. And out of all of these, I just want the Achilobator because, it's a new species. I don't have that one in the Mattel collection, so that's obviously one I want to get. Not really too interested in the Zuniceratops or the Herrerasaurus. Their designs, although cool, I just don't really think I need to waste the money on other dinosaurs that I already have a bunch of in my collection. So I'm okay with missing out on these, but the Achilobator is one I do want eventually, hopefully down the line. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it for the packaging. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this awesome dinosaur. Alrighty, so here we have the Nanotyrannus out of the box. And taking a full look at this figure, I really do like it a lot. Of course, when you first look at it, it doesn't really scream Nanotyrannus. When you first look at it, the only way you could tell is just by the name tag on the box. But for the most part, I think it looks pretty good. It looks good for like a little small sized Tyrannosaur. Everything else on this figure is actually pretty good. I really do like the sculpt, and the colors and all that. The only complaint I really have right now is maybe just the tail is a little too short. But again, that's not the biggest deal. Taking a closer look at it here, I really do like this one a lot. I like this. I like the sculpt, like I said. Just kind of repeating myself at this point. But taking a look at the head sculpt right here, it looks pretty good. It actually looks more like a Jurassic Park T-Rex than, what Nanotyrannus kind of looks like, which is actually kind of cool because since this is a Jurassic line, your Tyrannosaurs are going to look somewhat similar. So this is basically a Jurassic version of a Nanotyrannus per se. I guess what you could really say by looking at this figure. That's until if we ever get Nanotyrannus in a future Jurassic film, the future, which I would totally love to see that now that this dinosaur is a real thing now. Um, but yeah, the sculpt, the head looks really nice. Again, it's much like your classic Jurassic Park T-Rex in terms of the skull shape, especially here on the mouth. But I really do like it, like the little fine scales all over the face right here. I like these little bumps on the snout. I really do like that a lot. Nice little touch uh, of detail right there. Like the detail on the eye. You can see the outline of the skull present on this sculpt, which obviously in real life, for those of you who don't know, dinosaurs, skulls, you would not be able to see the outline of all of these holes in their skulls in real life because they'll just be covered in muscle and skin and possibly, some more fatty, stuff on it. So it's not entirely accurate when you look at that, but I mean, these are just dinosaur toys. They're not, these ones in particular aren't supposed to be 100% accurate. That's where you go for more things like Safari or PNSO. But just a little thing to mention right there. The teeth, I really do enjoy the teeth on this one. They're actually pretty nicely sharp looking for a smaller figure. So I really do appreciate that a lot. They're not like very super fat and rounded and look like they're all kind of gummed up together. Looking like it just has one straight line of teeth, kind of like what you see in cartoons sometimes. So I really do appreciate Mattel taking the effort and actually giving us smaller sculpted teeth. So that looks really nice. I like these little bumps or osteoderms here on the side of the jaw, kind of reminiscent of the Rebirth T-Rex a little bit. And here on the inside of the mouth, kind of hard to open because it's all based with an action feature. But as you can see, the teeth here on the bottom look really nice. They're pretty sharp for the most part, but nicely painted. Inside of the mouth looks nicely sculpted as well, same with the little tongue. The front of the face looks really good, a little too wide in my opinion. Real Tyrannosaur skulls weren't really that super wide. They were pretty narrow. Not as narrow as like Carcharodontosaurs, but they were definitely much more narrow than what you get here. But overall, it looks pretty nice. I like the detail on it. And here on the back, I like this little, I don't know what you call it. Not really armor, but this cool little structure here on the back that has like these little lines on it. So that's a really nice little touch right there. And you got some tiny little rows of osteoderms here on the back of the neck. And everything else is just kind of like finer scale detail, which actually isn't very sharp on this one. It seems a bit more smoothed over, which isn't a bad thing, but I'm just kind of noticing that compared to other figures. You got some nice little veins here on the neck, nice little wrinkles in the skin. Here on the underside, it's a bit more smoothed over. You got some nice little lined texture going on through the underside of the Nanotyrannus. But, it's pretty basic, but again, it works. And then here on the body, nice amount of scales here on the top of the body, as you can see right here. So really beautifully sculpted scales here on the top half of the figure, which looks really nice, really nicely done. I really do appreciate that. You got the nice little amount of muscles poking through the sculpt, or poking through the skin, which is really nice. Kind of gives it that nice little realism right there. Here on the side of the body, nice amount of skin detail. Not a whole lot of scales right here, just kind of just like rough skin texture. And you got some more larger osteoderms here on the top, kind of blending in with the larger scales that are on the top half of the body. Then the arms look really nice as well. Nice amount of detail, muscles kind of poking through right there. And the 2-digit fingers look really nice. The claws look nice, nice little ridges. here on the fingers. Same with the other side. Nice little scales on the inside right there. As we can see here on the other side. Yeah, really nice little amount of scales right there. I like how the arms do look a bit long on this figure to kind of give it a bit more like that accurate look of Nanotyrannus having a bit more longer arms. But of course, this figure was made way before that discovery, so it could have been just a coincidence. But that's how I kind of see it. You can kind of see here on the legs a nice amount of skin detail. Not scales, just kind of like that rough elephant looking skin. And you can see some of the little muscles outlined through the skin as well. Going down the leg, nice amount of detail right there. And then here towards the ankle, some more nice detail. Then here at the foot, we got a really nice amount of scales covering the foot. And the scales kind of start here and they kind of fade away as you move up to the ankle. The feet look really nice little ridges on the toes as they go up towards the top of the ankle right there. The claws look nice and sharp. And then here on the back, you got the little dew claw, a really long dew claw that kind of hangs back like that. Really nice. And same here on the other side of the foot. Pretty nice detail. Here on the underside, you got the scan code and the Jurassic logo right there. On the underside of the feet look really nice too. Basic kind of detail. And then here towards the back end, more nice, beautifully sculpted scales here at the top. Half the body that just basically goes down. You got more like this really cool line look, kind of similar to the neck that goes all the way down. It kind of stops a little bit, and then the entire rest of the tail is just like this bumpy, scaly looking texture. But yeah, the scale work really nice here on the tip of the tail. So I really do like that, and nice little stretch marks of the skin here on the back end. Yeah, pretty nicely sculpted, I would say. I really do like this Nanotyrannus a lot. I really do love these bumps on the snout and the sharper teeth. Those are definitely standouts in my opinion. And for colors, I really do like the colors. They're pretty basic when it comes to application on here, but I really do like the choice of colors. I prefer always like stripes on my Nanotyrannus for some reason. I don't know. It's like when I draw it, I put stripes on it, and it's kind of similar to the Safari one. But I don't know. Stripes on dinosaurs are just really cool in my opinion. But yeah, I've never seen a Nanotyrannus with like a really nice blue color before, so I really do like the choice of colors. I like this dark navy bluish color for majority of the body. And you got this really nice light blue. Maybe not really a turquoise, but more of like a very light blue for the top of the head and the neck, and it kind of stripe or has like splotches down through like almost towards above the hips. This nice little blue design. So it kind of shows you how the blue just kind of fades into the dark blue, which is really cool. It's kind of like your standard Mattel application when it comes to paint. It's only like the first half that's like really painted, and the rest of the body is just like the main solid body color. Sometimes it can be a little annoying. Sometimes, it's not terrible. I don't really consider this one to be that terrible, but it wouldn't hurt if it had a bit more blue kind of going on the tail or even on the legs or something. But, it is what it is. Nice little yellow eye with a nice little pupil, which the pupil is just the same color as the blue right here. So it's not as dark, but at least you can notice it, which is good. So that's yellow. Then here on the underside, it's more like this yellowish beige color for the underjaw. And then it kind of goes down partially down the throat right here. Again, would have been nice to kind of see this kind of fade into the body a bit more, just to make it feel a bit more complete. But again, I'm not a customizer, so I'm not going to paint it myself. But any of you who are customizers, you guys can probably repaint this one yourself. But I like the colors overall. Maybe they could have been applied a bit better, or at least continue it more, I would say. But I really do like the color choices. The teeth are nicely painted in like a somewhat of a white beige color, a lot more brighter than the color you get under here. And here on the inside of the mouth here, all the teeth, especially the lower ones, are nicely painted, and the inside of the mouth is just the tongue that's like this fleshy color. Unfortunately, the roof of the mouth is not painted. And even the gum flaps here on the side aren't even painted as well, so that's a little bit unfortunate, I would say. And the claws themselves aren't painted, but I mean, this is a darker color on a body, so it kind of looks like it's painted. Plus a little bit of like this glossy coat on the nails kind of make it seem like it's painted. But again, it wouldn't hurt if there was like a gray or a black or something. But yeah, overall, a really nice figure. Nice, solid little Nanotyrannus. For articulation, the arms here, they just move pretty basic, just forward and backwards. Basic articulation. And I like how they're positioned in the side like that, so it's very accurate instead of being pronated, so I really do appreciate that. And then here at the legs, they just move forward and backwards. Pretty basic, but, you know, it does the job. And they do not pivot in and out. And there is no articulation on the tail. And that leaves us with the action feature. So you got the little tail part right here. You basically just move the tail from side to side, at least pointing it this way. So you just basically do like this, turning it to the right all the time, and it makes the neck turn, and it makes the jaw open. So that's a pretty unique look, because I don't think we get a whole lot of this. So that's really cool. I like how it turns to the side and it like roars and all that. So that is really cool. I really like this little action feature. That's really cool. So yeah, really nice little feature. Briefly, we're going to take a look at some size comparisons. All right, so first up is a human comparison. Here we have Dr. Henry Loomis next to the Nanotyrannus. And overall, they look pretty good together. I would say the Nanotyrannus is definitely a little too small here. Based on the pictures that I've seen, Nanotyrannus would have been pretty large next to a human, but definitely extremely small compared to a T-Rex. So I think it would have been like maybe here, possibly, at least to the top of its back. I mean, it's a pretty large dinosaur compared to a human. This one is actually a bit too small, in my opinion. So, yeah, I mean, overall, it's not terrible, but it's not entirely accurate either, because Nanotyrannus would have been much bigger than a human here. And for fun, here we have the Mattel Nanotyrannus compared with the Safari Ltd Nanotyrannus. This one was part of their Dino Dana assortment. But again, very happy to have this Nanotyrannus in my collection as well. So now I have one in my model collection and one in my Jurassic Park collection. So just wanted to compare these because I think it's really cool how we get some more recognition of this dinosaur now. And hopefully we get more in the future based on this newer discovery. So as you can see, this is kind of more based on what a Nanotyrannus possibly more looks like. With the body and everything. Obviously, the arms could have been a bit longer on this one, and it's got that really nice, elongated, thinner looking snout. So it's definitely much more accurate compared to what you got from Mattel, but for what it is, it actually is pretty good. And finally, here we have the Nanotyrannus compared with a T-Rex, as we can see right here. So yeah, the T-Rex ultimately dwarfs this poor Nanotyrannus right here. But overall, the sizes are not that bad. Again, Nanotyrannus probably needed to be a tad bit bigger to be a bit more accurate and all that. But overall, they don't look too bad next to each other. I can definitely see how this one could be a little juvenile little T-Rex, but you know, it is what it is. And you can see the similarities in their skull shape and the way it looks, because, you know, it's got that Jurassic Park looking T-Rex head. But overall, they look pretty nice together. Alright, everyone, so that's about to wrap it up for this review. I do apologize if this video ended up being a bit more longer than I would have liked. I probably spent too much time at the beginning talking about a bit of history about Nanotyrannus. But other than that, for my final thoughts, I really do enjoy this figure a lot. I like the detail, I like the sculpt, the overall proportions. They're pretty good for a Mattel representation of a Nanotyrannus. And I really do like the colors. I personally think that maybe the colors could have been applied a bit better. I wish some things were painted, and I wish the tail was a bit long. But other than that, I really do enjoy this figure, and I'm really happy to have a Nanotyrannus in my Jurassic World figure collection from Mattel, so I'm very happy about that. And I recommend picking this one up if you guys ever see it. That's just my own personal opinion, if you guys are into getting all the different species that Mattel likes to provide for us. Yeah, that's just my own personal opinion. And yeah, I personally really like this figure. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys again for the next video.